everybody from Plant Reviews. Today 5th of February, and I wanted to show you some updates from a few orchids. I made a video in the past months, in particular last year. So I will start with my garden orchids that at the moment are are dormant. So my cyperpediums, the lady slippers, are completely dormant, and I just found that there are some raspberry plants growing in one of the pots. I will have to move them. Absolutely, I will get them out immediately after shooting this video. While the Pleiones also are dormant. You can see, however, the bulbs are still green. But two of the Pleiones grandiflora that I pollinated last year have developed a seed pod, and it's still closed, but this is the right time to actually harvest it because it's brown, and I think it will open in a few days. As you know, as most of you know, otherwise I will tell you now, orchids are very small seeds that are like dust particles, and actually collected Pleione seed pods from my Pleione Tongariro orchid. It is like dust. I will show you in a couple of minutes. And these orchids usually need laboratory conditions to grow, because the seed to germinate, in order to germinate and grow, needs a symbiosis with some fungi called mycorrhizae that basically feed the seed of the orchid, because they don't have much nutrients from the parent. Otherwise, these mycorrhizae are quite difficult to grow. In laboratory conditions, the nourishment to the seed is given to the seed developing, so the plantlet is given by an agar gel with nutritive substances in it. And I sent some orchid seeds to a guy in Lincolnshire, and that developed a laboratory. Unfortunately, I don't have the space to have my own laboratory here in my house, and I hope that some seeds will germinate, and I will send him as well some these pods. This is the Pleione, formosana, grandiflora, alba, and I will link the video. I will put the link of the end of the video if you want to see, obviously, the pollination of the Pleione grandiflora alba, and obviously it's a beautiful flower. Continuing here, I will give you an update of some of the orchid I bought for my birthday. This is a Brassia nodosa I bought from Orchid Garden. Unfortunately, it, as you can see, it died. I'm not too sure what happened. I don't know if it was sick already at the nursery, or evidently I couldn't care for it properly. However, I gave to this plant precisely the same care of my other orchids, and they were just fine. So this is the third time I kill a Brassia nodosa, so I don't know if the problem is really me, if the species hates me in particular, because I love fragrant plant. Brassia nodosa is one of the most beautiful plants to for fragrance. Is incredible, and the flower is actually also very nice. Unfortunately, I've never been able to grow this plant, and this is the third time. And this orchid obviously was not here. It grows in a windowsill at the first floor. I just wanted to show you here, separated from other plants, because obviously I don't want to risk to if it is a disease, like a fungal disease, I don't want obviously to spread it to my other plants. The other two orchids that arrived from Orchid Garden with this Brassia nodosa are two Brassia cucullatas that instead are not only perfectly fine still, but are actually developing new growth. These are orchids, again, they are on a windowsill and on the same room where I had the Brassia nodosa, and you can see that these orchids were in this position against the windowsill. So while these leaves were forward, the new growth is actually growing towards the light, and I have a new growth both in this plant and also in this plant. So I am very happy that at least the Brassavola cucullata seems to enjoy a lot the new location in my house. I didn't repot them yet. They seem doing perfectly fine at the moment, even if they are getting quite root bound, as you can see. But yeah, you can see how very well developed roots they have. So I will see to repot them in the next few weeks. One orchid that I recently repotted is this Cattleya violacea, variety semi-alba. It was really getting too big from for the small pot, so I repotted it in this mix, in this orchid potting mix from Westland, and seems doing fine. You can see here the Cattleya has a new growth and was developing new roots. I decided to repot it indeed because I found that new roots were developing, even if unfortunately I am seeing that this plant now has a little bit of black rot on these leaves. I hope nothing major. It's always a little bit scary when you find this kind of black rot on the leaves. You don't know really if the entire plant is getting sick or not. We'll see how it will develop. I hope that this plant will survive because I really love Cattleya violacea. And I had two plants that I tried to convert to semi-hydro, but they didn't adapted to semi-hydro, so I decided with this time to go on a more common medium, more natural medium. This is Cattleya violacea forma semi-alba, and this one also is sorry, this is the semi-alba flammea, and as it's a little bit different. It has some purple stripes on the flower as well, in addition to be white with a purple lip. And you can see this new growth, and also is developing a new root, so this is another plant. I will repot it soon. My other Cattleyas I bought from Guido Celandroni are okay. This one is a hybrid between Walkeriana and Nobilior, called Jewel Cute, Brazilian Jewel Cute. Seems doing pretty well, even if didn't change much aspect. It's not growing nor dying. Well, at least it's not dying. This Cattleya violacea, that's the nominal species, has put a new growth since I had it, so I'm also pretty happy of how it's behaving. And this one, Cattleya, this is the Cattleya violacea muse, that is an incredibly beautiful purple flower. Has been, well, it has been pretty much the same since I had it, so no development nor illnesses at the moment, even if two of the pseudobulbs has quite wrinkly leaves, even if I watered it just a couple of days ago. So I will see how it goes in the next few days. Then I'll show you my Brassia longissima. This is a plant I bought about 4 years ago, and I tried to convert to semi-hydro, but really didn't like it, and the root tips, the new root tips, were always burnt by the semi-hydro, so I decided to reconvert it in a mix of leca and sphagnum moss, and well, you can see that it actually worked perfectly. Sorry, this is Brassia verrucosa varietas longissima. You can see that this mix worked perfectly. Look how well the roots developed. It's an absolutely great achievement. Luckily I was able to save it from the problems of semi-hydro. Unfortunately, some plants really don't like semi-hydro. It's a great way to cultivate some orchids. Most cattleyas, adult cattleyas, like semi-hydro, and you can keep cattleys that are up to semi-hydro 2 or sometimes even 3 weeks without watering them, because basically they have this water at the bottom to rely on. However, some orchids with fine roots, like some Oncidium in the Oncidium family, sorry, in the Oncidium section, like Brassia, indeed, don't really like the semi-hydro, so I decided to give a mix of leca and sphagnum moss, because the leca allowed to keep a nice aeration when mixed with sphagnum moss, because the sphagnum moss alone tend to compact too much, while the sphagnum moss anyway ensure that there's humidity reaching the top layer as well, because if you put only leca, the top layer tends to dry out quite quickly, and the new root tips that are still pretty delicate risk to get burnt by the leca, because the leca basically sucks the moisture from the roots. So I'm very happy of how the root development has gone in this Brassia, and I think I have a new growth coming from here. I will keep you updated in the next few weeks, hopefully. And finally, I will talk about my Dendrobium nobile. I'm not too sure what variety it is, because I bought it at Morrison, this supermarket, and I am very happy of how it's behaving. This plant bloomed in June last year and decided to bloom again in January. You can see that how nice are the flowers, white with a yellow center, and the fragrance is incredible. Is in between freesia and honey. Is a really sweet fragrance. This is a plant that I also keep in semi-hydro. I don't have a transparent pot for this one. This is quite a top-heavy plant because of the canes growing quite long. So, however, you can see that is in leca, and I have it in a little bit like as usual for semi-hydro, with 2-3 centimeters of water at the bottom. I found that most people recommend to keep this plant in cold environments between autumn and spring, in order to get a big blooming in spring, and to suspend completely the water unless the canes are very wrinkly. However, as you can see, I just kept watering this plant, and it was outside until September or October. Then I decided to bring it back at home, and well, it adapted very well. I kept watering it, and as you can see, it decided to bloom again after just about 7 months since the last blooming. Obviously, not all the canes have flowers. I'm not too sure if it was exposed to colder conditions would have bloomed with more flowers, but I'm still pretty happy of how this plant handled the blooming. It is a really nice plant. So thank you very much for watching. That's it for today. I just want to give you a quick update of some of my orchids. I made some videos last year. And as usual, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to support this channel, it would be great if you can please subscribe. And as usual, I hope to see you next time. Bye.